is the partypoker.net World Open 4. The best in the business are queuing up to put their hold'em skills on the line in one of poker's greatest tournaments.
I always call No Limit Texas Hold'em the beautiful game.
I always think I'm going to win.
It's a real man's game.
If I win it, it's all skill. Do I sound like I know what I'm talking about?
12 heats will be played out, and in this round, the winners go through to the semifinals. The runners-up get a second chance in a turbo round. Over $500,000 is the prize pool, and the winner will pick a huge $250,000 first prize. This is unique. This is poker at its best.
Wow, wow, wow.
Dreams will be crushed.
Wow, like that.
And champions will be born.
It's fun when you win.
Heat 3 features another great lineup. A man, an Irish man, Mick McCool. His biggest poker win was when he came second at the Irish Poker Championships and bagged $160,000.
It's a very interesting deal, tactically. You know, it's going to be a real mental battle.
This current London poker hero, Neil Bad Beat Channing, is on a roll. He won the Irish Open, bagging over $1.2 million. Unflappable, unstoppable, unbeatable.
Winning this, in terms of like winning a large sum of money, it's no big deal. I'm rich now anyway.
This guy is the 20-year-old living the dream. A successful online player with a cheeky side. This is Josh Tyler's debut on the World Open table, but his confidence is flying.
I was told I was with a bunch of online qualifiers, and it turns out I've got one of my rivals, Channing, who constantly beats me.
This 23-year-old poker player from Torquay was 54th in the World Series of Poker in 2006. He has been going pro for 4 years and is set on making a name for himself on the table tonight. Scott O'Reilly.
I'm looking for a big result. I've had quite a few decent results that have given me some nice cash wins, but nothing. I've not had like a decent first where I want a title.
Bingo! It's Robin Keston, who is a well-known face on the circuit who recently took his biggest cash win at the EPT Grand Final. He is sky, he is high, he will fly.
I'm a bit cynical. I've been around it a little bit longer than some of these younger guys now. When I first started playing, I was always the young guy in the table, and now I'm very often the oldest guy at the table.
Nathan Lee from Essex is taking to the World Open table for the first time. This is just a sideline hobby for the company director. He's got potential.
To win the tournament, obviously the money's nice and all, but it's a good tournament. To win it is, bragging rights are good on it, so yeah, I'd love to win it.
Well, no Fishamania here. It's all pros stocked on this table tonight. Joining me and commentating with me tonight is poker journalist Matt Broughton. Now, Matt, for a favorite, you can go no further than Neil Channing. I mean, this guy was just a poker player. Now he's a millionaire.
Well, absolutely. He's more usually found grinding away the cash games at the Vic, but right now buzzing off the victory at the Irish Open.
As far as the dynamic on this table, though, it's Channing and Mick McCool. They've had a very public spat on the internet. Channing thought that Mick McCool is too aggressive in his table talk.
Yeah, well, these boys have been taking chunks out of each other online for about, months now, but this is the first time they've come together to settle their differences at the table.
Now, to quote our tournament director, Mad Marty Wilson, table talk is encouraged, but, can you go too far?
I think you can, and maybe they will tonight.
You cannot influence another player in the hand, but other than that, say whatever you like. Coming up, let's see who's going to take to the table like a duck to water.
Unreal, man.
I always listen to Neil's commentary. I find it quite good advice.
And with Neil Channing analyzing the hands, we get an insight into his game plan and how his opponent's mind tick-tock.
Yeah.
This will be some fun. You can already just kind of feel that these guys are in a sort of talkative mood, but it's going to be good poker.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. We've got some fantastic players at the table, not just with the chips, but with the chat. So we should be in for a treat.
Colors on the table. The blue chips worth 2,000. The yellows are 1. The reds 5,000 apiece. Jaws not in play, but still bringing fear. I'm sure we definitely overblew the rivalry between Channing and McCool, but these guys are both pros, and they did have a very public reconciliation. But even so, they could try and get under each other's skin.
Making up for
Exactly.
all the years
Well,
and years of having
there's
no
got to be some residual tension
These things are all meant to
somewhere
average
buried
out.
down. If there's
Suddenly,
one game that can bring those to the surface, it's Texas Hold'em.
Pass.
O'Reilly, 6,000. Queen Jack, and here's Lee with the pocket pair.
Pass.
Yeah, he's going to make use of his position.
that thing you were
Just
talking
see if he
about?
can see a flop, and if
Do
he
a
connects in a
squeeze
big
in.
way, then it'll
Oh, God.
hopefully be payday for him.
Jump in and see a flop.
I don't understand.
Cheap, mate. I only made it 6 for a reason.
Didn't seem cheap
He
to
likes
me.
to take things down.
Didn't seem cheap to me.
Nathan just keeping an eye on Scott there as the cards come down.
That looks like an action flop.
It's not a nice flop for 2 sevens, but opportunity to steal.
6,000.
We're going to see a check raise here.
Call.
No, he's just gonna take another one.
Who's got more information on the other's hand?
Well, right now, because of how they both played it, it's pretty hard to funnel it down to any particular
Board already.
guesstimate.
O'Reilly's willing to show this down cheap, I'm guessing.
One pair.
Queen.
Yeah, no one's going to get too excited too early, I guess. You know, unless you know you got the stone cold nuts, then why would you want to get
I can
too
see why you
involved?
made it
But
cheap now.
I'm sure a bit later on in the game, then
You had a
that
load
would
of
be a hand
charges.
with
Come
far
on
more
in.
chips
I
involved
should've
than right
done.
now.
Nathan's got fans watching. He's got to impress them.
Previous to this the year, Robinwood for a long time was known in the poker world as the
Raise
guy who
to
folded
8,000
pocket
total,
kings
pass.
before the flop near the final table of the first Poker Million. And some say it cost him £1 million. The first, I think it didn't.
Re-raise to 27,000 total.
A big re-raise there from the ace king.
Yep.
Pass.
Yeah, and does McCool have any options here? Not really, or
No, I don't think so. Why on earth would he want to get involved right now?
Pass.
What's he going to do? Re-raise or just flat call and cross his fingers for a 6? I think Mick's much better than that.
Was it 22?
19.
Tougher for Josh, but
I mean, it looks like a squeeze play.
yeah, which it's lovely when you play a hand by the book and actually people read more into it. But again, if you're wrong, you're in the middle of a big pot holding ace jack.
Is this because I took you out last time?
So this is just well up a little bit and then throw them in.
Yeah.
Way too early to be making
Pass.
moves like that, huh?
Absolutely, and I think the players are just happy to take a moment just to study their opponents and just
Show one.
take a snapshot and go, this is what you look like when I think I'm beat, and this is when you look comfortable. But they're not going to waste any chips.
Fans all round.
Pass. Pass. Pass.
Channing's folded his button twice already.
Joking with the Germans that they missed out by
Pass.
not picking Davood.
Call.
Had a Benjamin Kang play.
Yeah, we seem to go from one extreme to the other one minute
Yes,
everyone's
full
getting
pass.
monster
Well,
hands, and
he's a
then
good
it seems to
friend,
slow
mate.
down.
Very
but
nice fella.
He's a very nice fellow. I
Second
like him a lot.
time,
He played-
O'Reilly's picked up the
quite
queens
well
in the
in
big
the
blind
heat.
against a
And he wins
Tyler
the
limp from the small.
Yeah.
And he played okay.
Yeah,
He got good run of
This
cards.
time he gets flop bound.
And in the final,
yeah, but with a hand like 5-8,
Check.
the flop
They
needs
went
to
on
do miraculous
Eight
things
thousand.
for you to actually want to
Did they?
continue.
he went out. He was out
I don't
first
think
playing
bottom
for
pair is
Germany
gonna-
to lead them off.
Yeah.
Be too tempting
He
for
got involved
Josh.
in a hand with the 10-4 of diamonds.
What?
Unless he thinks that
In the
Scott's
first
bullying him
level.
with position, but
Where he
it's
bet
going to
and
cost
raised
you
on
too many
every
chips to
straight.
find out, I think.
Oh, Jesus. And
He
to
never
what?
had a
No, he
pair.
decided to
He had
just
and he
make a
flopped pair
stand.
of fours. He tried to squeeze play.
So you're not just going to do this to me every
The
time.
original raiser came back over the top of him.
Oh,
And he
God.
decided to flat call.
Who was it?
As an internet qualifier from Holland.
You know, I think Tyler
Flop
wants
bottom
so
pair.
badly to make a
Decided to have
play.
stab at it anyway.
And got himself into that much
And
shit.
for some
And then he
reason,
picked
he's
up a
just
flush draw on the turn.
Oh,
He
God.
thought he
that
better have a
O'Reilly
crack
is
with the
vulnerable.
semi-bluff now.
O'Reilly looks pretty solid to
He
me.
was haloing
Yeah,
on
And
the
he went all
Oh,
in
wow.
on the river when he missed.
Well, that's
And the guy called him as one
bad
pair.
news for
Oh, mate.
And they
O'Reilly.
went from being chip leaders to being...
It'll be interesting because
What did the rest of the team say when I reconnect?
I guess he's checked
they
call
weren't
bet off
very
the
happy.
river,
They
but
weren't very happy.
how much should Tyler
weren't
bet
meant
to
to.
get called on the river?
No, I like Ben.
I
It
think he'll
was
put
fun.
Yeah,
about
lovely
15
chap.
in there or
He's
something.
not scared to make a move. Then.
11,000.
So that's definitely getting called.
Yeah.
He had trouble after that because they weren't very happy.
I mean, he can't.
Well, he was supposed to be.
Sorry,
So we'll see him back next year.
He limp with him.
The ace is
He was
the
supposed
only
to
real
be a
major
pair of
scare
hands
card
at the
there.
start.
Yeah.
And suddenly,
They're illegal.
you know, he's done like 80% of the rest
I
of the
don't
team's
think
chips
for a
with
minute
10-4.
O'Reilly put Tyler on 5-8.
Nice hits.
And everyone at the table just absorbs that. Okay, now we know what range of hands you're going to be playing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh dear, Robin.
That will have made
Looks
him
like you
feel
might not
great.
be
That
man
will
of
do
the
him
match
a
after
big favour moving forward.
I'm joined by someone with a unique point of view, Neil Channing, because he was there, of course, Neil. Now, I mean, looking back at this particular hand, you had a bird's eye glimpse of it.
Yeah, I remember this heat. We were all kind of fed up with Josh, really, to be honest. The other players, he's chirping away. He's only 20, you know, we have to hear about how great he is every 5 minutes. I think every other person on the table was desperately hoping Scott would win this hand.
Is there a rule of thumb for playing that big pair when the overcard hits the board? Did Scott do this perfect?
Yeah, Scott's a good player, and I don't think the other players on the table really knew too much about Scott. I knew that he was a really good player, and I was quite wary of Scott. And yeah, Scott's quite happy to carry on with his pair of queens, even with the ace on the board. He's a little wary, obviously, that there's an ace there. Yeah, he's trying to keep the pot small, but I think he's basically checking to keep calling. He's pretty sure in his mind his queens are good, but he doesn't want to play an enormous pot. He just got really unlucky.
What were you thinking when the hands were turned over? Because you had a little bit of a smirk on your face.
I was just thinking, I felt sorry for Scott, and I was just thinking, oh God, we're going to have to listen to Josh telling us how great he is for the next 10 minutes. Was it very slow, yeah? Who else was in it?
Slow isn't the word.
We'd have watched it all we've been doing St George's Hospital, eh?
Pass. 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 Cool.
First time, McCool v. Channing. Blind on blind.
No raise.
Yeah. Be interesting to see what plays out here if anybody connects. Oh,
Check.
Neil's taken the lead,
Check.
but won't be too excited about either the pair or the kicker that he's made.
One hallmark to Neil's game is he
8,000.
doesn't mind getting deep in pots and having tricky decisions on the turn and river. In fact, he looks forward to it. It's kind of like Roland DeWolf in that manner.
Yeah, and this is interesting, Jess. I mean, Mick's made a pot-sized bet and been called reasonably quickly by Neil here. Very hard for Mick to follow this up.
8,000.
But he's going to do it.
15,000.
I like that bet.
Yeah.
I like
Cool.
that call
Wow.
even better.
Good call.
Wow, that's going to send a real message to Mick there.
Nice call there.
1-0 to Channing.
And those are the kind of pots that a guy like Channing can win that most players can't. Most players would have ended that on the flop or ended it on the turn, and Channing's picked up max value there, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you called it right, is that Neil's not afraid to get into
Oh, keep
difficult
scoring, boys.
pots. A lot of people want it to be very clear cut, and then Neil just thrives in that sort of environment.
Plenty more to come after the break. I'll bet if you blindfolded all 6 of these guys, they could tell you within 2,000 how many chips every other player has, and also every hand that's been played.
Oh yeah, it's all going in. That's part of their skill, is just absorbing this, soaking it up, so that when it comes to make these tricky decisions, they've got so much information at their disposal.
12,000
Sounds
total.
me keeping quiet.
Pass.
It becomes like an instinct.
Yeah.
So
That's what
Josh has been
No,
quiet
I'm
for a while.
emotional.
I'll leave it
and,
to you,
he's
Nick.
woken up with a real hand.
Emotional, these young kids can be like that.
Has
Just
Neil.
wanna
This
leave
could
me
be an
alone,
interesting
please.
clash. Probably the first big clash of hands we've seen.
It is, and Channing's
like a
chosen
magnet,
just to
man.
call here, which is
You're going to give me your
a
chips.
step in the right direction.
I
An
didn't
ace
put them up for offer.
will present all
Did
sorts
when you
of
raised somebody
tantalizing.
before with ace queen.
Yeah, and there's
Oh,
26,
that's why I had-
26 in this pot already, so it's... It's not going to be cheap to get involved with this if you want to see the turn without just checking it through.
Check.
I'll check. Try and trap me on the phone.
Channing is,
I think yours was weaker.
I think. These guys are both a little bit uncertain. Could Channing win this with a bet? I wonder. He doesn't think Tyler's checking out of strength.
No, I mean, I think, but if Channing is going to try and bet Josh off the pot here, it's going to need to be quite considerable because he could still think that both of his cards are live if he hits the pair.
12,000.
And obviously he now has the draw. 12,000. That's not a small amount for Josh to get involved with just on the draw. He thinks he's got 10 outs.
Feels, I'm just not sure. It just feels like that check on the flop gave Channing a lot more information about Josh's hand than Josh has about Neil's. I mean,
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Josh is really struggling here to put Neil on a specific hand.
Cool.
and with that call now, obviously it may stop Channing up. Tyler could well win this pot.
Yeah, I think as long as Channing doesn't connect at the end here, I mean, Channing really is going to have to come out with a lot of chips here because Tyler has just shown that he's prepared to make a big call. And that could be one of the hands, one of the cards he was going for was the heart. Maybe, Channing puts him on a pair and a draw, and now he's hit the draw.
Basically, Channing has to bet here because he couldn't. I don't know if he could really stand it if
Check.
Okay. A lot of pride at stake.
I wonder if that's a sign of the fact that Neil went to his chips and went to look at them and then checked it. I think this is an opportunity for Josh, but does he really want to take the risk? He seems to have taken too long here. I just wonder what the thought process are that's taking this long. He's gone for it.
19.
19.
Now the five of hearts did make a flush on the river. Could Tyler have a flush here? I mean,
this is very hard for Neil to call. It's very hard for Neil to see the value in this, I would think. Because in the same way it took guts for Tyler to make that move because of Channing's involvement in the hand, well, now it's reversed. Channing's thinking, well, Josh was clearly interested in this.
I'd love to know.
Really?
Yeah. You can't call the splitter, can you?
I just think Neil's struggling to see this as a fantastic opportunity to make money.
I mean, if Neil's thinking about calling, doesn't he have to think about raising? Because obviously, if he's putting Tyler on something like Ace Queen, he doesn't want to call and see Ace King. Oh, you don't think he's gonna do it, do you? He wouldn't raise him here, would he? Gosh, Tyler does look a little scared. He looks like he ate a meatball or something.
Or a tennis ball. I mean, Neil's more than capable of it, but I think that Neil's decision-making process knows that was a very marginal situation.
Your ego even more. And that's the last thing we want to be doing.
He's very relieved, and he is going to chirp it up.
Yeah, a little bit of needle just to make Neil wonder what that was really all about.
It's just out of control.
And you get the feeling Josh is someone that's going to enjoy being chip leader.
Josh,
There's going to be a bit of razzmatazz going on now.
Good hands don't normally work for me. It's all the bad hands.
I know that time you had that good aim.
Pass.
Yeah, it was with the queens. Do you remember that? And Nick Slade knocked me out.
Trips down to you.
Pass.
Well, you don't,
Really,
you,
the best way
for you to have on your table was me. And you know it.
Raise to 9,000.
Can't begrudge him a spot of luck.
Just raise it to 9,000, which kind of, you wonder if that's
push your buttons.
Kind of reeks of wanting action, because we've seen standard raises pretty much around the table.
Yeah, and Mick's gone very speculative here. As it turns out, the ace will be his friend.
Wow, this is unfortunate for Scott.
Check.
He had queens. and the ace popped.
10,000.
And now he's got kings and the ace popped. Both times he's going to get beat.
Well, Mick has to make a move here. You're not going to be playing ace-4 without the idea that if you are lucky enough to connect, you're going to play it back. Scott's keeping a very close eye on him.
Can Scott win this with another bet? Oh.
I don't know. I just don't get the vibe from Mick that he's going anywhere. You know, if he was the sort of person that's going to go away, he would have gone away when he was holding the ace-4.
That card changed nothing. Obviously, the 4 doesn't play.
7,000. It's a tiny, tiny bet at the end. It reeks of a beg for value.
Pretty much beat about nothing now.
I think he knows exactly where Scott is.
I mean, that's what he says. I beat nothing. It's true. I mean, look at that. The 9 paired. The heart came.
What do you call it?
7-8 of spades.
Yeah. And it's a great, you know, a great signal from Mick, a total appreciation for where he is, that he only puts 7 out there because he knows that it's going to be so hard to even get the minimum bet paid off. On the hands he must put Scott O'Reilly on right now.
Jeez, Scott hates life right now. He doesn't want to fold, but I mean, he doesn't want to call. I mean, he's just not.
But he must know that's exactly what the 7,000 is designed to do, to make him feel like this.
He just could not have bluffed 7 into 40. He just couldn't have done it.
Go on, have 7,000.
He knows it.
It was nothing. I mean, it was 7. He's kings. Yeah.
It's a brilliantly sized bet. It's painful punishment from Mick.
It really was, wasn't it?
Unlucky, sir.
They've played 2 levels. The life of O'Reilly has not gone well. Lee's in trouble. Good news for the others.
Yeah, Mick is right back in it. A couple of nice moves there, and some very nasty moves. That will hurt Scott for a while.
And Mick's gotten back in it with trash, hasn't he?
He has, but he's hit, and you need to hit, but you need to play it well to maximise your profits, and he's done just that.
Yeah. Kept it simple.
Do you have to be on crack to read it?
No, I don't do drugs. Drugs are bad.
Mick's mood seems to have buoyed considerably with his stack.
Yeah, you get the feeling that he would be a very dangerous player to find as a chip leader. O'Reilly's gone for it again this time.
It'll be 40,000.
He won't be so fortunate.
No, this would not be the spot for Keston to fold kings, although he's always capable.
I don't see it. I'm happy to take a wager on it, but I think he's going to
have to remember what it was last
get involved. It'll be interesting to see whether he chooses to flat call and actually induce any more action or just to shut this pot down.
Cool.
It's called exactly. And, I mean, these players...
Pass.
I'm pretty sure
Pass.
that Keston's not going to call 40,000 without a hand that can't call more. Or, I mean,
small pair.
Maybe Eddie's.
Well, it isn't over till the fat lady sings. There's still 5 cards to come and ruin Keston's day. He looks very cash and comfortable about it.
On the crack tape.
But he also looks vaguely worried, just a little hint of concern, because probably been in this situation a number of times before and it hasn't gone quite so well.
It's all gone wrong for O'Reilly tonight. He doesn't really expect it to change now. This could be. The end. The ultimate ignominy, drawing dead by the turn.
Good luck on cruise, mate.
Nothing to do but shake hands and move on to the next game.
None of my hands really connected to the flop, couldn't really get anything through, or raised with a semi-decent hand and come over the top when I was pretty sure I was behind and had to pass. These things happen, it's just poker, isn't it?
Welcome back to the partypoker.net World Open 4.
That big? That big?
McCool approaching the range where he's almost in free shot mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a number of players here that he could have a pop at. Well, especially when the deck keeps coming around and delivering the goods. But, I mean, this is interesting that the chip leader and the second lead here, 10s versus ace-jack. Could see some interesting developments here.
The bet's 25. I mean, McCool's in position here on the button, is calling. You know, there's always ways to play hands. There's always options.
What you got left, roughly, Robin?
I like the way he's thinking about it. I'm not sure what the right decisions. I have this feeling that Robin's going to call if he re-raises, and I think Mick has the feeling that Robin's calling with a lot of hands. So
yeah. I just don't know if Mick can put much merit to just call and see a flop here. Is that he either likes the hand or he doesn't, but knowing that he's up against Robin clearly is playing on his mind.
The answer to the question he's trying to find out is he has about 60...
113 behind.
He has about 60,000 more than Keston does, but it's a big chunk. It's a big chunk. He'd have 60,000 if he played the all-in and lost.
You've got to respect the fact that Keston is very well chipped.
He is. He's
cool.
And the interesting thing is, you know, Channing's also capable of having junk here because of the amount of raises he's made tonight. But McCool's chosen to call here, and is this a call that he's just looking for no ace, and then he's going to make another kind of decision? Don't know.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, the fact that he's called means he obviously wants to see a flop. He wants to see Keston's reaction.
Keston's gone all in the dark. He's gone all in the dark. He is a sickie.
Well, we said it. As you know, Mick wanted to see the flop because he wanted to see what Keston would do, and Keston's removed that. He's removed that ability to look at Keston's reaction because he just said, I'm all in. And this is fantastic. And then it's tough. It's really tough for Mick. I mean, what does he make of that? What does he attribute that move to?
What a sick puppy. Keston's actually picked up a flush draw. It's 50-50, I think, percentage-wise here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really fun thing for Keston to do. It's really fun.
Well, I guess he detects from McCool, the fact that McCool just called is that says he's got a big hand, but he's not entirely convinced by it. And why would he be calling? Because he wants to see what the flop does, and he wants to see what effect that has on Keston. And Keston just steps in and removes that information.
It's pretty funny.
I mean, it's inspired by Keston. It's, you know, it's a crippling thing to do.
Amazing thing, obviously. If McCool does call, Keston's actually got a pretty good hand to play against him. And if McCool looks over there, maybe he'll see Keston's not that worried. I mean,
nice bet.
What an
210.
interesting bet.
No.
Well, that's why I was surprised.
No,
I said, you know, I don't know if Mick would come to a conclusion that there's a lot of value in just calling. But that's what he chose to do.
Even if you're 60-40, you're calling, aren't you?
Plus.
You know, the fact that he got McCool to lay down ace-10 there shows that Channing had his man right. And just re-raise all in quick, and this is good timing, I think, for Channing, no matter what he's got.
Yeah.
45, 55, 65, 69.
Well, that's good enough to make that move with, certainly. And then again, if the ace-10 was a fold, then the ace-6.
Well, he knows he's got fold equity anyway, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it is what it is, isn't it? And what is it? How much is it? McCool now finds that he's getting bullied around. It's almost like those 10s burst his own bubble.
Yeah, he's been running good, and he's just had a couple of hiccups in the last few hands that'll...
Oh, is it possible? God almighty.
I think you got enough there. I think
You know,
10 more.
what happens, man, is as soon as you show anybody at the
Thanks for
table
pointing
that
that out.
Oh, I don't want you to think that, you know, it's,
you're
you're
scared
getting a
to
bargain and
gamble,
you haven't got enough ready.
they'll batter you like a flopping fish.
I mean, I don't really want to call, do I? I want to just have those two.
And Neil just in your ear, just nibbling away at your brain.
God, it's turned into crap shit.
You thought it was a game of skill?
Yeah, and McCool, he's kind of...
Somebody ring Eddie. It's turning into a crapshoot, Ed.
Let's go.
Wow.
That's a good call.
Yeah, he's
I
just
think
decided.
He had to draw his line in the sand. Maybe
Yep.
not because of the hand, but because of his table image was suffering so much.
Yeah, it was the fact that he kind of had to justify his previous fold.
Would you?
Clearly, he feels like people are thinking you're being too tight. He's just decided, let's go for it.
That looks like a
And
poker hand. The
McCool,
ace-six looks
big
like a-
favorite to take Channing out.
At least I got my chips
I'd rather
in
have
front.
had the bit in the middle.
I'll pass the ace.
He passed the ace.
Oh,
Alright,
thanks
I'd
for that,
rather
mate.
have the king then.
Told you,
Well, when you're hot, you're hot.
I'd rather have just had the bit that was in the middle and we moved on to the
Speed,
next hand.
speed.
That was all I wanted.
He doesn't mean that, I'm sure.
Well, that doesn't
Not
have spades out there.
That's it. Channing wins.
You are truly
And-
blessed.
As you say. Oh, and the ace.
Oh,
The
dear.
burner. Nice hand, buddy.
You know, they may not
It's a
have
crapshoot, as you correctly pointed out.
looked like two hands that need to get all the chips in, but in a sense, it's kind of a cold deck situation. I mean, neither player did anything wrong, did they?
Who's that?
I mean, he's
It's
made a
like the
lot
white
of edgy plays tonight,
I gave him a bit
but
of a
they've
lesson
had
in
to
one
be
and-
edgy plays, or else he wasn't going to do anything at all, was he?
Yeah, well, you know, he had his chance with some big hands and he didn't find any customers. He
Go on, I'm all in.
well,
This
I think he's forgotten that he's no longer the short stack.
Slightly.
I think he's forgotten that he's not a net overstud. And quick call by Josh Tyler. It's got to be King Jack. Yeah, this is unlucky. Boy, these chips are going to start flying around. It's kind of another cold deck situation.
Best still rather the king jack.
I'm surprised that, you know, Channing finally found himself at the top of the leaderboard and then just immediately makes that move against
It's
Josh.
under the gun raises. Best
Deuce.
hand of the day. Nice hand.
Deuce. That's good enough.
That's drawn dead by the turn as well. And I'll tell you what, talk about a processional here. Let's see what, I think Josh can find a little needle here. can't he?
75.
From McCool to Channing, from Channing to Tyler, that's like a triple play.
And another 15.
I'm really still surprised by the move from Neil there. I just wonder about the motivation. Just thought, I guess he thought this is too good to fold, and if I'm going to go up against Joshua, then I've got to put him to
Oh
the
shit,
to
sorry, I
the
was thinking
test.
they were
But
five.
I mean, Tyler had 85,000. He couldn't really make a small raise, could
No,
he? He had to
no.
either go all in or fold. And you
75.
can't really pass King Jack in
No,
a
I
small
guess.
blind, can you?
I guess. Yeah,
It
yeah.
is-
You've
it
got
is.
to you've
It
got
is
to
what
consider
it
yourself
is.
unlucky to run into such a strong hand there. But well, he briefly enjoyed the chip lead.
And you especially can't fold King Jack in the small blind when you just doubled up with it in the big blind.
True.
That would be like trying
Any
to
sound,
foil
sir?
the poker god.
Yeah, I think I'm being retrospectively too tight considering we saw the hand that Josh had. But yeah, it's
That would just be considered sacrilege. You need to have a certain kind of attitude right
is
now if you're at that
buttered
table, Matt, which means there's some things you can do something about and a whole lot of other stuff you can do nothing about. And you have to kind of release yourself. You know, I mean, there's some things that just have to be done. And if they get you knocked out, they do. And if they don't, they'll win you at the tournament.
yeah, and you need that element. You need that gamble side of it because that's what it
Because
is.
if you don't do them, you have even less of a shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Raise.
And this is
30,000 more.
that's fraught with danger because McCool. Actually, it's a raise big enough so that McCool doesn't really have a re-raise in there, is it?
No, he hasn't got enough left behind him to make that decision.
Re-raise.
It's that.
Wow.
It's all he could do, I guess. He
He-
just felt the value was there.
It's interesting because
39,000 more.
I mean, Channing is thinking he knows I can't fold, so it must be massive.
Yeah. To have played it in this way, Channing's thinking, wow, I've done exactly what Mick wanted me to do, and here we go.
Fact is, even though Channing's priced in, if he does call here and lose, he's going to be so short, it's like out of the tournament, and he could kind of fold here and still have a playable stack.
Yeah.
Jeez, he's going to feel like a goat if he folds here. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Well, he's
Cool.
39.
Yeah, I think he's just, you know, he just trusts his instinct and go, do you know what? Yeah, let's just do this.
Well, it's
we
just
can
a
sit here all night.
mathematical- just the price, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, nice hand.
You dirty dog.
McCool all in.
Keston.
And trailing to the king high. And really in bad shape now.
Yeah, it's not really gone his way in the recent few orbits of the table.
Picture.
And he's going to look back at those pocket tens and say,
Lucky.
did I, should I, could I, would I?
Yeah, I don't think he made many bad decisions, and at the end of the day, the cards just came along and did what they were going to do to him.
30 seconds.
It was an awkward hand.
Yeah, it was a weird hand, wasn't it? I must admit, Mick had played quite passively with me in the blinds. He kept on either just passing and giving me a free blind or limping in. And I felt that if he had a strong hand in this situation, he must raise my blinds. He's only got about 70,000. I thought he'd just move the whole lot in to win the 15,000 blinds that are out there if he had a proper hand. When he just limped, I just thought, well, he's got a medium kind of hand. He's gonna have like a 7-8 or something like that. And if I raise and raise half of his stack, it'll look like I've got a really strong hand. And he can't possibly call me. And then he did the other thing, he just moved the whole lot in.
Now, if you want to be self-critical, I mean, was actually your raise size a little awkward because once you got raised there, you could not pass, couldn't you? Should you have thought about that?
Oh, I'd already thought about that actually, Jesse. Yes, I put a raise in where I would have to call whatever he did. I tried to make it look like I had a really strong hand by doing it that way, rather than just putting the whole lot in. But I was always going to call. I guess I just winced a bit because I just didn't expect him to move all in. I thought, oh no, I hope I haven't walked into a massive McCool trap. But as it turned out, he was just giving me an early birthday present.
It's looking like him and Tyler with a bit of license here. And Keston with the cards.
Raise.
The answer is sort of yes. If Keston had nothing, Channing could get him to fold some hands, I'm guessing. The answer as to whether or not Keston would fold obviously is no.
Yeah, well that's the thing is you then think about the person involved, and we know that Keston has been very happy to get involved in a variety of hands.
Wow, this is the first pair versus pair we've seen. Robin Keston up against it.
Well, he's had a fair run of the cards, so it seems fair dues.
Cold deck. Is the new dealer into the box? Did we check her sleeves before she came in?
You don't feel good. He's all in. There has been a king out, but don't really mean much.
There's 300,000 in this pot now.
Yeah, this is going to make Tyler a monster, isn't it?
Yeah.
Red card. Not heart. Not diamond. You know what I'm saying?
Just the queens, then.
King.
Just the queens.
King.
Did you have me covered?
Oh,
you didn't.
And he couldn't catch it.
No, I think you might have changed. It was close.
I'll tell you what, that move Keston made with the ace-jack of clubs was worth the price of entry. I mean, that was, just not feeling it now, but that was a magical moment. But he's out. He is definitely out.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's got you covered.
He's played such a solid game, and he's been so very busy, such a big part of this game. And one cold deck, and it's all over.
There's 5 people still in. The blinds are 5 and 10,000. You wake up and you find pocket queens. It is like this is monster, and you know, run into kings. It's just crap. It's just like, so there's nothing. It's a cold deck.
Most value for Nathan.
Nathan's never looked more alone, has he? Out there on the end of the table.
All in space, right? Spinning in space.
And the total is?
And I think Tyler, well, of course, Tyler has to call, but it was
nope.
A lot of cards in those hands.
Pretty much a call that he could do nearly without looking.
Yeah. Well, they're probably just relieved that he's finally gone all in. They've been waiting for this opportunity between the two of them. And what does he finally do with 5-7?
King, king. King, king, king. One time, king, king, king.
That's a joking reference to Joe
Diamond.
Hatcham, I think, for the internet
King.
freaks.
Ace. Nine. Diamond it. End it. Diamond.
Ooh.
And let's see, it looks like a 5, 6, or 7. That's not a diamond.
High card.
Keep Lee in this one.
Well, I don't think Nathan got the chance to shine there. I don't think he really
I like
found
it,
himself in
yeah,
any
I like it.
situation he
Good
liked.
Took 90 hands to scrape Nathan Lee off his seat with a pallet hammer. But, you know, he couldn't get any more life out of those cards, and the 5-7 had to.
He had a slight glimmer of hope, didn't he, at the end, but all for nothing. Unlucky thing.
He might have made a couple of little mistakes and not pushed earlier, but I was just waiting for Neil and Josh to sort of clash together there. So I would have got into the turbo, so I was really low stacked, like 60,000 when the fourth one went out. Yeah, not this time.
In the words of the man,
Was the turbo
Lancy
blind
Howard
back
from the
to the
Cincinnati
five?
Kid, there's always a kid, isn't there? Neil Channing, definitely the man. What's the story here between them?
Well, you can see it. Well, you can see it's the chip count is the all-important part of this. We've got a 2-to-1 chip advantage for Tyler. It really just depends if Channing can whittle away at that or if Tyler just bullies Channing into the corner.
$10 and $20, and, well, I mean, Channing can fold, he can go all in, he can wait for the next hand. That's really about it. And the jack.
89.
Michael.
Plenty.
Wow. I mean, Neil's been particularly unlucky. He's not really had much of a break as far as the cards go.
Yeah, he'll be happy enough with the pot size, 178,000. You know, it'll basically bring him back to where he started his heads up anyway.
Yeah, well, if he wins this, then when he does it again, it's a real challenge to Josh.
But it is a 31%er. And Tyler going to the semis. Uh-oh.
Wow.
6, 6, 6.
Well, a piece of luck for the first time in a while for Neil.
Yeah, not since the final table of the Irish Open.
Now you're just being nasty.
No, I'm just kidding. Lots of outs here for Tyler.
Yeah. Jackie Chance.
And they hold.
Well, that's good news for Neil, and as you rightly spot, it's 178,000 to fight with now. It's a decent amount of ammo.
69,000 more.
It's good news for the spectators because, I mean, this is fun, you know, and if these guys can stay at a place where there's play in this, I mean, you can only see good poker.
Absolutely. I mean, Josh just looks like he'd rather just shake hands and go all in blind and see what happens to get this resolved.
Cool.
But he can settle down and just... I think at some point you realise, okay, a minute ago you were all ready to win this, and that hasn't happened, so now you've just got to reel it back in and go back to your game that you trust and has got you this far.
Well, it feels like the play has gone out of his game. I mean, he's playing a very, very straight game the last 7 or 8 hands. It's almost like Channing has put him into a box where he's not bluffing anymore.
Check.
Yeah.
Check's good.
Check.
It'll be interesting to see what happens on the river here. Will Tyler fire at it?
Check.
I think not. I think he would have done had it not been a danger.
No sevens.
Very good.
Yeah, I think the river was a dangerous enough card to stop Josh from doing anything too creative there.
I might actually start to price this one up with Neil being favored here.
Yeah, you've got to
Be careful what you wish for.
No.
Neil feels like
long
the
as my
favorite,
chips are
and
good.
he looks like the favorite.
I don't care.
Maybe the chips tell different, but...
True that. 100 total.
Raise to 100,000 total.
And it was a verbal 100. I think the rest are following. Tyler saying, well, if I got to gamble... Oh, boy.
Oh, well. There's only so many of these that I think Neil will be prepared to let go before he just thinks this could be it.
It's a pretty big kicker with that ace. It's a big enough kicker that there must be a possibility that Tyler has a lower ace here. I'm saying it's...
Yeah, cool.
Wow.
He's just decided to call
And
this.
is this stop and go? I mean, you know, what sort of hand does Channing put Tyler on? This is 200K in there.
Yeah, this is a key hand. I mean, what does Tyler make of that move?
Well, that's good for Channing. Well, he's all in now.
Check.
Check.
I'm all in.
All in. Cool.
Wow.
And it was a big enough hand to check call.
Well, maybe that was the plan all along from Neil.
Then if he hit something, he would check, and if he missed, he would just push. But mentally, he was committed.
I think so. I think so. His reactions, everything he's done tonight, he's taken time and he's deliberated. He just reacted so quickly. I think he had that down. From as soon as he saw the ace-9, he just ran that whole sequence through in his head.
Six outs twice for Tyler.
Tyler will be sick with this.
He just wants some help from the deck, and he ain't getting it. He ain't getting it. And I'll tell you what, Channing has taken him down. He's laid him out, and he's gutted him, man. He has gutted him.
And if it was hard to beat Neil when you had to 5-1 chip advantage, now try it.
Look at that look. I mean, that is competitive fire. That is a Channing right now, bleeds competitive fire. And I'll tell you what, you don't want to face this guy on a poker table.
Yeah, I'm good.
Now, I'll tell you what might be interesting is to find how Josh plays heads up when he's the shorter stack, because this might actually suit him. It might make it very easy for him, because originally he was very aggressive, then he took a few lumps, and it calmed him down and seemed to deflate him, but...
Are you kidding? The only difference between his head and aquarium is what's swimming around in it right now. But he is finished. Those chips are going in the next two hands. I mean, you can believe it.
Yeah.
10-20. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think Josh is going to find it very easy to push on a number of hands coming up. But that's that. I mean, it's very, very disappointing.
Look, he's 20 years old, and this is all part of the process, and he's getting experience here that most people don't get until they're much, much older and a good bit wiser. But,
wow.
Channing all in with I don't know what.
8-9 suited. I mean, Josh's calling range is so huge. Well, that's good for him.
Channing, first time he's had a chance to actually win this heat. He's behind, but cards on their back, and I don't know.
Wow.
Queen now, or the 7, making Channing the straight. Tyler still ahead.
Never easy, is it? It's always painful.
Ace of hearts. Oh.
Look at that. Look at that. Straight flush draw now.
Wowee.
It's for the worst turn card I could have ever seen.
Good Lord.
Okay, Josh.
Josh, that must feel dreadful.
Yeah, it's a lonely place to be right now, but you know what?
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
We're going to be seeing this kid around for a long time.
Oh, yes, I think that's one thing we can be sure of. That was a fantastic performance, and it just didn't come for him with the heads up, but Neil looking very cool.
And the last hand, the runner for the flush, but, you know, I mean, that wasn't the story.
No, I think that's not a fair reflection of how that heads up played out.
Channing beat him. I mean, he got lucky, you know, one hand, this and that, but he played some poker. He played some poker tonight, didn't he?
He did. He beat him in a number of different ways, and we can see that's the end result. But well played for Josh Tyler, I think.
The bookmakers had it right for once. The tournament favorite through here, Neil Channing. Congratulations. It wasn't really beautiful poker, but you did what you had to do. I mean, you weren't given much to work with.
Well, I don't know. I think I had aces and kings a couple of times, but nobody ever had anything when I had anything, and they always had things where I had jack 6. So.
It was one of those heats where it was really a tough lineup.
Yeah. I'd played with every single person on the table before, and Josh and I just played heads up recently in a heads up tournament, and that was the first time that we'd played heads up since then. And I guess I was kind of looking forward to getting heads up with him again.
Commiserations, Josh, but well played. There did seem to be this feeling from the start that you guys were the ones that were going at it verbally and everything, and that you knew that you had to sort out Neil to get through.
Yeah, I thought this time, especially when I got to a 5-1 chip lead, I was definitely going to take him down, but once again, he got the better of me.
With Channing through, he is the favorite, and everyone will be looking towards him. Can Bad Beat do it? Plenty more will have a say on that.
Next time, Texas Tim will try and make LaSalle Barrow toast. and a man with more neon lights than Las Vegas itself.
I should go put the other shirt on. Sammy only aces.
That's winning. Yeah?
What chance?
Here on the partypoker.net World Open Poll.